It's given away cheaply. Look early for Viñas. He's lofted forward again by Sebastian Cáceres towards Darwin Núñez, former Liverpool striker. Never really worked out for him on Merseyside. There's Alois again. Well, it's maintain his focus in that famous win over Argentina, who went on to lift the trophy at the end of that tournament. He clattered Yasser Al-Sharani, left his teammate unconscious. He grew frustrated with playing second fiddle to the Moroccan international Yassine Bono at Al Hilal, so he's made the bold decision to drop down the tier to the ambitious Al Ula. And that sparked a bit of a resurgence in his career. The 34-year-old was expected to start on the bench with the younger and maybe a little bit more mobile Nawaf Al-Akili preferred during qualifying. He was the hero of the playoff against Iraq, but starts on the bench tonight. It's another one that's too easy for Oliveira to pick off on the edge of the penalty area, and here they come flying forward. Araujo. It's good strength by Cano to get back and win it back for the Green Falcons. Here's Abdullah Al-Amri across to Tambakti. Moteb Al-Harbi on the left-hand side. Picked forward by Tambakti. Comey's widely regarded as the finest domestic player in Saudi Arabia. Hassan Tambakti drawn interest from clubs in the top flights of France and Portugal, but stays in Riyadh for the moment. Al-Juwayr. Al-Shamat on the right-hand side, early ball into the penalty area. It was flicked away by Mamadou Ugarte, and he'll try and latch onto the loose ball. It's picked up by Al-Kaibari, though. Now Al-Shamat, central position, 35 yards from goal. Pokes it up to this right flank for Musab Al-Juwayr. Saud Abdul Hamid, French Cup winner of the season with Lens, qualified for the Champions League as well, with the side that finished second, just 6 points behind PSG in Ligue 1. They'll be on the search for a new manager. Pierre Sarge, the man who took them to that cup glory for the first time in over 50 years and steered them to that runners-up position in Ligue 1, has been announced earlier today as the new manager of Crystal Palace, replacing the departing Oliver Glasner. Saud Abdul Hamid has no hesitation about surging forward. Oliveira. There is no representatives in the Uruguayan national side from their domestic league. It's one of the reasons that Marcelo Bielsa has been under a bit of pressure from Uruguayan media, Uruguayan fans. Almost the exact opposite is true of the Saudi side. It is only Saud Abdul Hamid who plays outside of Saudi Arabia. It's Tambakti, Al-Harbi, Al-Kaibari gets it forward. Possession near halfway. That was too far away though from Musab Al-Juwayr. Cut number 36 tonight for the Alcatia midfielder. We'll just sit in front of the back four tonight. Here he is in the centre circle. Al-Khaibari. Cano do the same job. Just trying to occupy the entirety of that Uruguayan back four at the moment, Saudi Arabia. With Jawad Al-Jawad, Al-Buraikan, Al-Barsari and Mohamed Abu Al-Shamat all pushing forward as that's headed away by Matthias Viña. Here's Mohamed Cano. Able to get away here. Al-Khaibari. Pass too far away from the captain, Salem Al-Dawsari. Number 111. By quite some margin, most experienced player in the squad tonight. Ahmed Kano in the heart of the midfield, the 31-year-old with 78 caps, is his vice-captain. Here's Oliveira. Fede Valverde. Cáceres. Two is left to Oliveira. Araujo. It's given away. Good anticipation from Moussa Al-Jawad. Seem content with just holding on to the ball when they do win it back, Saudi Arabia. Because Uruguay dropped back into a defensive shape. The ideas are hard to come by a little for the Saudis. There's another game that appears to have kicked off a little bit later than advertised. It's been a feature of this tournament. A significant portion of them have been at least 2.5 minutes beyond their build kick-off time. This one the same. Now in the 13th minute, but approaching 17 minutes past the point at which he was meant to start. Here's Al-Shamat. Cano near halfway. It's back to Al-Amri. Hassan Tambakti. Al-Amri. Tambakti. Al-Harbi. Khaibari. Al-Khaibari, I should say. Tambakti. Across to Al-Amri. Slides one forward, looking for Al-Buraikan. Pirouette, it's a nice turn from Saud Abdul Hamid. I thought there was a foul there, but referee Maurizio Mariani disagrees. Uruguay allowed to continue with Matthias Oliveira across to Sebastian Cáceres. Oliveira. Muslera. Bit of time on the ball for the goalkeeper. In his own penalty area now with Estudiantes. It's his 40th birthday tomorrow. Fernando Muslera. Going to be celebrating it with a big victory in this massive tournament. UPH off to a goal-scoring start, but a fantastic one for fans of Cape Verde. No tears for Cape Verde hero Vozinha, the goalkeeper who pulled off 7 saves to keep Spain at bay earlier on in Group H. His mother was unable to watch on from the stands in Atlanta. The cost of a visa was considered too expensive for her to make the trip, but she was watching her on back home, and her son has certainly become a significant hero back home. Cape Verde on that list of countries whose citizens have to post a returnable bond of up to $15,000 before travelling to the US, on top of any fee for a visa. Vozinha has been Cape Verde's #1 for 13 years now, since he was 27 years old, and he won't have experienced quite a game like that. It's somewhat of a feature of this tournament. Lots of players continuing to play in what many would consider past their sell-by dates. It's testament to the amount of sports science and the conditioning of some of these professionals nowadays. It's Cáceres. Here's Ugarte. Oliveira. He's down the outside. Looking for Maxi Araujo. Ugarte is struggling for minutes since Michael Carrick took over at Old Trafford. He spent a lot of time on the bench. It's an important part of this Uruguayan side, though, maintains that role under Marcelo Bielsa. Viña. That's too hot to handle for Araujo. It's neat and tidy. Cano. Broken up by Rodrigo Bentancur. Back to Fernando Muslera. He's gone looking for Guillermo Varela. Shot from a long way out, a long way wide. From Salam Al-Dawsari. He can be a danger from that sort of position, stepping in from that left-hand side onto his right foot. Had a little bit of space, but distance was always against him. Just linking up with Musab Al-Jawair. It's been a slow start, you have to say that, from both sets of players. And maybe the conditions a bit of a factor in the somewhat pedestrian pace of the game thus far. Good throwing from Abdul Hamid. Zarro down the touchline. It was Al-Dawsari who was all over the back there of Sebastian Cáceres, wearing a mask. To protect a broken nose that he suffered 3 years ago. It's become a bit of a trademark of him. Plays his football in Mexico. It was a clear foul by the Saudi captain. Uruguay already moving the ball amongst their back four. Oliveira into the middle for Bentancur. Varela. Valverde. Varela. Ugarte. The big debates about Fede Valverde was where best to play him in this Uruguayan side. At the moment he's out on that right hand side and has been a bit isolated in the opening exchanges. Matthias Viña eventually draws the foul. Saad Abdul Hamid and upended him initially. There was no foul in that moment, but as he prevented him from getting back to his feet, Maurizio Mariani has decided to blow the whistle. Will be a set piece near the corner flag on the left-hand side. Maxi Araujo to take the set piece, a left-footed delivery. Swings away from the goalkeeper towards the 6-yard line. It was met by Bentancur. They recycled the ball. Half shouts for a penalty there as it was prodded back across the face of goal, but the Saudis have escaped, and It's Salem Al-Dawsari who wins the throwing out on the far side. We'll have a little look. It was Sebastian Cáceres. Yeah. Richie Mariani indicates that the arm was down by the side, and it certainly was by Hassan Tambakti. Tucked the arm behind his back did strike him on the forearm, but good eyes from the Italian official. To scamper there, Fernando Muslera, but he couldn't get there in time to prevent the corner. There's a loose pass from Matthias Viña. Uruguay certainly favourites on paper coming into the match, but it's a big but. They've yet to really show too much to live up to that pre-match billing, and now the Saudis have a corner. A wall of green striding forward, including the likes of Hassan Tambakti. Such a physical presence. Musab Al-Jawair with the outswinger, high towards the back post. Strong header away. And Oliveira. Al-Saudi. Got it free by Federico Viñas. Varela will eventually just nod it backwards to Fernando Muslera. Zaralho. Oliveira. Cáceres. Varela. Ugarte. Over the top by Cáceres down the right-hand side. Two chasing after it in sky blue. It is Viñas who picks it up, but the fight goes up. I think it was offside on Guillermo Varela rather than Viñas. Do look a little disjointed. The last games coming back in March. 2 draws initially against Algeria and England. You might remember that. Quite a physical, robust affair at Wembley. Referee blows the whistle. First of the 2 hydration breaks. They've been controversial, to say the least. And as the players gather to the benches to escape this humidity, I have to say it's probably the first necessary hydration break that I've seen across this tournament so far. Temperatures still up in the 30s. Centigrade and 70% humidity in Miami. One who is still pretty cool and calm and collected, Fernando Muslera. Officially the first Uruguay to feature in 5 separate major international tournaments. An incredible legacy, but really, look at the story. He only became a goalkeeper completely by accident when he was 8 years old, growing up in Montevideo. He was actually quite a prolific youth striker who loved scoring goals. One afternoon, though, as the story goes, his team's regular goalkeeper failed to turn up for a match. Muslera volunteered to fill in simply because he wanted to play, but he absolutely hated conceding goals. His mother famously recalls that whenever a goal went past him back then, he would openly burst into tears on the pitch because he took it so personally. Well, over 3 decades later, and those tears have turned into more than 100 caps and a legendary status in the Uruguayan goal. It's also a good time to remind you that this is independent, studio-based off-tube commentary of this global international tournament. Is available wherever you're listening to us from, the local TV networks. If you do want to watch on and sync up our audio commentary to the live TV pictures, we'll take a chance to do that now. Looks like both managers have had the opportunity to pass on some tactical instructions. One of the major criticisms of these hydration breaks have been that they break up the flow of the game. Well, this one Hasn't really had much rhythm to it anyway, so perhaps we will see something slightly more exciting after the two sets of players return to the mid-pitch very shortly. Slightly more prolonged opportunity to take on some fluids here. And you can see a lot of that water isn't being necessarily used to hydrate themselves, but to cool them down. Supporters are feeling the heat as well. Faces being fanned with hats and a few beverages being consumed in the stands. Uruguay back out there, ready to resume. Saudi Arabia not quite ready just as yet. Uruguayan supporters in fine voice already. Come back out onto the pitch, Saudi Arabia, and we will get started again very soon. Maurizio Mariani just pointing across to the football on the far side of the pitch. We'll resume with a free kick for offside. Which is going to be taken by the goalkeeper Mohamed Alois. Which is a long ball lifted right down the middle of the pitch. Bentancur is underneath it. Now Firas Albaraikan. Acrobatic clearance, a bicycle clip to get it away by Sebastian Cáceres. Saudi Arabia without a touch in the Uruguayan box at this point, as we tick towards the half-an-hour mark. Up in the air by Varela, clearance completed by Sebastian Cáceres, flicked forward by Cano. There's Al-Jawaya. He won the header and was caught by Al-Jawaya. That'll be a free kick on the edge of the Uruguayan box. Brave defending from Sebastian Cáceres. Sure knew the challenge was coming. Faces football for Club America. On the right hand side towards Darwin Núñez. That's another one that's under play. Bentancur, Viña, Maxi Araujo. Fire pain from Saud Abdulhamid, who made the challenge. Quickly back on his feet as Uruguay take the throw in. Oliveira moved on by Ugarte from the centre circle to Cáceres. Speared out to Valverde. Bentancur. Varela, decent touch round his man, but the cross picked off at the corner 6-yard box, scooped back towards the back post, towards Maxi Araujo, across the face of goal, diving header, pushed away by the goalkeeper. Great chance for Fede Valverde. Quite the stop from Mohamed Alois. Thought the chance had gone as Guillermo Varela spurned his opportunity to get in there. It was scooped towards the back post. Maxi Araujo kept it alive. And it's Fede Valverde. It was actually Federico Viñas who was stooping there. He got his head to the ball. Alois had to adjust and adjusted well. Was pulled back for a foul by Maxi Araujo. He wasn't to know that the goalkeeper. Araujo goes down, caught by Saud Abdulhamid. A word of apology from the Lens right back. Muslera. He's Valverde. Ugarte. Valverde chasing after it. And in doing so, he's fouled Moteb Al-Harbi out there on the left-hand side. It's clever defending, actually, from the left-back. Just spread his body, made sure there was contact with the Real Madrid man. Up in the centre circle, Maxi Araujo. Ugarte. Varela, Valverde. To Cáceres. Oliveira. Cáceres. Back to Muslera. Cáceres has the luxury of just putting his foot on the ball. That really sums up the game so far. Muslera angles one out to the right-hand side towards Valverde. Núñez jumping with Al-Amri, who's done well to win that. Tucked back to the goalkeeper by Al-Harbi. Alois gets it away down the middle of the pitch. Muslera took a chance. Juggled it under a bit of pressure. He left his goal unattended, and he did well. Drawing on all those years of experience. 16 of them as a Uruguayan international. Viña will scamper to keep it in play. Works Viñas to keep the ball moving. Bentancur. Araujo. Viña. Oliveira. Viña. Araujo. Viña again. Seem reluctant to get the ball into the mixer. Varela to Valverde. Links up with Ugarte, tries to poke it back to Fede Valverde. It was Al-Harbi with the interception, now Al-Dawsari. Tried to be a bit too intricate there, and that's one back by Darwin Núñez. Bentancur. Oliveira encouraged to shoot with the Uruguayan crowd. Viña towards the back post, Alois comes and punches. He was caught by Darwin Núñez. Referee will put it back for a foul. He stayed on his feet in the end, Mohamed Alois, and pulls Darwin Núñez back to his feet. Little pat on the back as well from the former Liverpool striker. Decisive, confident goalkeeping for the man with the number 21 on his back. It is a foul. Nice to see the two sharing a smile. Good on this hard-working professional, Mohamed Alois. It's a clever turn just outside the centre circle by Musab Al-Jawaya. Here is Al-Jawaya. Looks for Barrekan. Made by Oliveira. Abdul Hamid. Al-Shamad. Abdul Hamid trying to return it to Kano. It's Viña that gets it away, and again it's headed straight back to Saudi Arabia. Al-Amri. Return back to you now. Kano. Al-Shamad. Kano. Across to Tambakti. Ball intended for Al Dawsari. Just about enough to keep it moving, and here comes Al Harbi, weaving his way to the middle of the Uruguayan midfield, and he was caught by Fede Valverde tracking back. It'll be a free kick from 35 yards in a central position. It was an eye-catching run from Moteb Al Harbi, though. Plays his football for Al Hilal. Managed by Simone Inzaghi in the Saudi Pro League, finished second in the league. Muslera has had a quiet evening so far. Musab Al-Jawair and Salim Al Dawsari both standing over this one. Probably a bit too far to go for goal from this sort of range, but you wouldn't put it past them, you know. They have options as well, converging on the edge of the penalty area. Just two in the wall, but haphazardly constructed. Here's Al-Jawair, dinked in there towards the back post, punched away by Muslera. That bounces out of play on the near side for a Saudi throw-in. Not had too much to do. Sebastian Caceres has bumped into him as that ball flew away, and in fact it's over the byline for a corner. Al-Jawair. Fist, the ball's in towards the near post. It drops it to the penalty area. Muslera with a great save. It was Al-Amri with the effort. Waiting for the net to bulge. Muslera stretching across to his left to just push it over the crossbar. This time to the edge of the box. Al Dawsari towards the back post. They're queuing up there. Across the face of goal. Just wouldn't quite drop for Al Borekan. It was Tambakti using his big frame. Well, they've watched and they're waited, Saudi Arabia, and suddenly they've come alive here, recognising there's a chance to get at Uruguay here. In by Al Harbi, struck from a long way out, and that one's going to swish wide from Abdullah Al-Khaibari. Interesting feature about the crowd here this evening. There's plenty of Uruguayan representation, significant portion of Saudi representation, but you can also spot a couple of shirts of other South American countries, particularly there's a number of Colombians in this evening. And as Abdullah Al-Amri unleashed that strike from the set piece, there were a few Colombian hands on heads. For a bit of Schadenfreude. It's moved along by Al Borekan. Al Dawsari edge of the penalty area. Really good feet, Al Dawsari. Central when he had options on the left hand side. Caceres gets it away, but not far enough, and here they come again. Abdul Hamid. Shamat. It's yet another corner for the Saudi Arabia side. So again, it's Musab Al-Jawair. Into the penalty area, another good header, and then the rebound is poked home by Abdullah Al-Amri. Saudi strike first. just like 4 years ago, against a team clad in sky blue and white. Saudi Arabia make their mark on the global stage. It's a brilliant header by Tambakti initially, hit with real power. Muslera spills it, and it's Abdullah Al-Amri who reacts first, gets a toe to it, and pokes it past Fernando Muslera. It's just his second goal for his national team. The Al Nassr defender. Scores for the first time since the 25th of March 2021. There is real concern in the ground around the Uruguayan supporters. Not only do their team trail, there's an argument to say that they've been second best as well. How do Uruguay respond? Here's Araujo. Novinha. Closed down by Saud Abdul Hamid, who gets the referee's decision and celebrates that with almost as much gusto as he did the goal. Abdul Hamid down the right hand side. Vinha win the header. Balakan. Bouncing ball. Here's Cano. Just lost his balance. Chilatu Garte to sweep it back to Muslera. Flashed forward. Flipped on towards Araujo. Federico Viñas, and a yellow card for the goal scorer Abdullah Al-Amri. He's just caught him in the small of the back there. And then he catches Maxi Araujo. Abdullah Al-Amri. Right in the thick of things over the past couple of minutes. What's the last minute of the 45 for added time? A set piece for Uruguay. Scant encouragement for La Celeste so far. Maybe that can change here just before the break. Maxi Araujo toward the back post. There's the header across the face of goal, but it's held on to by Alois. It was Federico Viñas. Looks the most likely for Uruguay. Shamat. Here comes Ugarte. Araujo. Left-hand side, Araujo slips past Saud Abdul Hamid. And it was read by Abdullah Al-Amri. Gets in the way at the near post. Corner for Uruguay. 45 minutes gone. Araujo with the corner. It's flicked on its way by Núñez. Valverde on the far side tries to get it back in there. 4 minutes added on, says the fourth official. Into the box, Araujo! Keeper came out, spread himself. Well, the flag goes up. Again, top goalkeeping by Mohamed Alouache. It did look like he was offside initially. We'll have a look at the replay. I don't know, actually. It's much tighter than it first thought. It was brilliant from Mohamed Alouache. Bentancur. Varela finds Valverde. Bit more energy now in Uruguay's attack. And the low ball from Fede Valverde took a deflection on the way through and ends up in the arms of Mohamed Alouache. Hasn't had anywhere near enough of the ball, Fede Valverde, to affect the game, but when he does get going, you can see what a quality player he is. Kano. Saad Abdul Hamid. Kano. Tumbaxi. Harvey. Good at Al-Amri. Al-Shamat. Tumbaxi. Long from Al-Amri down the right hand side. Misplaced one. Bounce away from Firas and Boreka. Here's Muslera. Oliveira. Ugarte. Bentancur can turn in the centre circle. Trying to force it forward to Núñez or Valverde. Didn't reach either of them. Have a chance to go again here, Uruguay. Here's Matthias Oliveira. Cáceres. Ugarte. Oliveira. Space in behind for Viña. Flag will stay down for the moment. But only for the moment. As the assistant referee on the far side eventually raises his flag. Good idea from Matthias Viña. It's a brilliant line though from Saudi Arabia. And this should be that for the first half in Miami. Mohamed Alouache with a long clearance into Uruguayan territory, and Maurizio Mariani blows the whistle to bring to an end a first 45 minutes that certainly has gone the way that Saudi Arabia had hoped for. It was a relatively pedestrian and tame opening 25, but the hydration break, as it has so often throughout this tournament, has changed the game. Where prior, sometimes the flow has been broken up and the rhythm has been upset. The message that came from Georgios Donis was that Uruguay looked disjointed, they look a little bit underbaked. And from the restart, Saudi Arabia piled on the pressure, mostly from set pieces. In the end, it was Abdullah Al-Amri who poked home the rebound after Muslera pushed away a Hassan Tambakti header. Uruguay with a lot of work to do. This Group H is really shaping up to be one of shocks potentially after Spain and Cape Verde's 0-0 draw earlier today. Well, at half-time in Miami, another shock is on the cards. Saudi Arabia lead. It's Saudi Arabia 1, Uruguay 0. Welcome back. Saudi Arabia lead Uruguay by a goal to nil in this Group H clash in Miami, and Uruguay have to change something, so they're going to change some personnel at the start of this second half. One of them is a headline change as well. Off goes Darwin Núñez. Along comes Agustin Canobio of Fluminense in Brazil. And the left back Matheus Vinha, the other to depart. Just trying to clear up who has come on to replace the River Plate defender. It's Sanabria Magole. So a change at left back. One Manuel Sanabria of Real Salt Lake. Two changes at the break by Marcelo Bielsa. Something has to give. Uruguay, a really poor first half, you have to say. Swapped ends and swapped a couple of players, Uruguay, so you can say there's also a bit of a change in shape. Canobio out to that right hand side. Valverde now playing more centrally. There he is, coming off the right hand side. Muslera in goal. Sanabria now at left back. Oliveira, Caceres and Varela, that line. There's a diving header. It came in from Varela. It was a really good effort from the new man. Canobio, just after half-time, drew another fantastic save from Mohamed Alouais. He's done really well, the Saudi goalkeeper. Now bursting through they go. Valverde just lost his footing, stumbling towards the 6-yard line. And Saudi Arabia smuggling away. Well, Marcelo Bielsa has clearly got into his players at half-time, because they've come out with a renewed energy at the start of this second half. Better tempo from Uruguay. Canobio, another good ball. Vinas with his back to goal. Varela tries to scoop it forward to Canobio. And flashing in front of the goalkeeper goes the goal scorer Abdullah Al-Amri. Well, we can round you through the rest of that Uruguay lineup. Maxi Araujo on the left-hand side, Bentancur, Ugarte, and now it's Canobio on the right. I think Valverde is just going to try and float around Federico Vinas. No changes at the break from Georgios Donis, the Saudi Arabia head coach. Saud Abdul Hamid at right back. Mohamed Alouais, as we already mentioned, the goalkeeper. Abdullah Al-Amri is the man who has them leading. A toe poke after Muslera pushed away his centre-back colleague Hassan Tambakti's header. Moteb Al-Harbi at left-back. Al-Shamat on the right-hand side. Al-Dosari, the captain, Al-Dosari, I should say, who wins the throw-in inside Uruguayan territory. Kano and Kaibari, the two central midfielders. Firas Al-Baraikan and Musab Al-Jawair, the front two. One variable about this second half that we will have to keep a bit of an eye on is the weather. We also already have hydration breaks at this tournament, which have caught headlines, a bit of controversy. Some people not particularly pleased in the first half. It actually seemed to work in Saudi Arabia's favour, as they had the opportunity to regroup, get some instructions from their manager, and come out with a restart with a renewed vigour. Here's Al-Dosari. Didn't take it with him. Ugarte forward. Bentancur. Araujo. Let's it run. Sanabria, the half-time sub. Bentancur in the centre circle. Now finds Varela. Now Canobio. The heat and humidity is one thing. That's why they stopped the game. On paper, at least. Can't do much about the overhead conditions, and apparently, according to the regulations of the tournament, and it's well known sports in the United States of America, if lightning is detected within 8 miles of the stadium, they will pause the game for 30 minutes as Canobio cuts it back from the byline, and that's poked behind by Al-Khaibari. And there is a bit of lightning in the air around South Florida at the moment. Got a corner here, Uruguay. Maxi Araujo standing over it on the near side. The in-swinger driven towards the back post. There's the header, and it's wide from Viñas. Adamant there was a touch on the way out of play off a Saudi defender. He says handball, actually. Federico Viñas. He was jumping with Tambakti. He plays inconclusive. Goal kick has been taken by Mohamed Alouais, who's one of Saudi's stars this evening in Miami. Here's Rodrigo Bentancur for Canobio as the supporter Guillermo Varela. Josari in close attendance. Bentancur just took his eye off the ball. A bump in the back of Kavari as he moved the ball along, but it's won back by Ugarte. Sanabria into the penalty area. Viñas was stretching. It's over the crossbar, flag up anyway. There's Maxi Araujo as well, who was stretching. Mohamed Alouais spots the ball up for the free kick. Knocked away by Cáceres. And here's Bentancur. Sebastian Cáceres in the middle of the Uruguayan half of the pitch. Bentancur, which is Ugarte come back to collect it. Sanabria. Space down on the left. Much more energy in Uruguay's approach here. Here's Valverde, edge of the penalty area, down the outside, Varela. And again, they've got bodies in the way, Saudi Arabia. Moteb Al-Harbi gets in the way of that one, and it's behind for a corner. Araujo again standing over the corner kick. Another decent header, and that's turned away by Altan Bakti from the edge of the 6-yard box. And the follow-up attempt is gathered by Alouais. They've struggled with set pieces. Saudi Arabia might be Uruguay's best route to an equaliser. Viñas. Broken up on the edge of the penalty area. They're keeping the ball well enough. Towards the back post. Oh, it was Canobio arriving, but just touched away by El Harbi. Bentancur. El Harbi's there again. We've just had an update from the organisers that the conditions locally are improving in terms of the weather. Being classed as low risk situation of a match interruption. El Harbi, he was on the deck as he swept it away. His foot was left high, like Canobio, and run into it. The Uruguayan substitutes. He was caught high on the thigh. Well, they'll stop the game. He just slips there. El Harbi. He did get the ball away initially, but because the foot was left dangling in the air. That's where Agustin Canobio is taking a scrape to his thigh. The assistant referee was right on top of it. Cáceres. To Muslera. Now Oliveira. By Bentancur. Cáceres. On the right hand side is Varela. It's in field to find Ugarte. He's dropping into a position between the two centre backs at the moment, the Manchester United man. Canobio. Harvey. Saudi Arabia, deflection on the pass forward, but the Raikkonen can still get on the end of it. That will be a throw-in. Ugarte. Valverde. Bentancur, central position. Varela's found a lot of space in his second half down that right hand side. It's another decent ball, and Canobio. Big arse for him to turn that on target from a tight angle in front of the near post. Almost an hour gone now. It's long from Alois, but Saudi Arabia is really struggling to get a foot on the ball in this second half. The change has really changed the approach for Uruguay. Agustin Canobbio injecting some real energy and drive, especially down this right-hand side, linking up with Varela. So lovely ball by Ugarte. Space for Sanabria down that left. Oliveira. Here's Varela. Canobbio goes down in the penalty area and he's holding his boot up as evidence that he was fouled. Ugarte drives one onto the post from the edge of the box. Alois get a fingertip to it. Well, he's hurt himself as well. Inches away from levelling things up, Manuel Ugarte. Brilliant save. A brilliant save from Mohamed Alois. He stays down. The faintest of touches could well be just about enough to have kept that one out from Manuel Ugarte from the edge of the penalty area. Agustin Canobbio is still remonstrating with the officials as he puts his boot back on. One of the directives from the organisers of this tournament was to try and stamp out what are being referred to as tactical timeouts enforced by goalkeepers, and there are some jeers, some whistles, some boos from around the stadium for Mohamed Alois here, who, well, we can only suggest that he is genuinely feeling something. It's tough conditions out there and he's had a busy evening. There's a sea of green flags in the stands, and the Saudi supporters Saudis are preparing a change. It's not a replacement goalkeeper. It's going to be Nasser Al-Dawsari coming on. A stern word from the referee to Mohamed Alois. Looks like he'll be right to continue. He's going to replace Musab Al-Jawair. Nasser Al-Dawsari. First change of the evening. This gets the goal kick into Uruguay's half of the pitch. Cano. For Al-Shamat, only finding touch. By Sanabria. Oliveira. To Cáceres. Oliveira. Ugarte. Left for Sanabria. Cáceres. Canobbio. So difficult to break down on the edge of their own penalty area here, Saudi Arabia. Have a real chance for a big scalp. The bounce is free. But I can try to do it himself, but he's lost a bit of steam as he crossed the halfway line. Bentancur, it was, who won it back. Cáceres. Varela. Valverde. Bentancur. Sanabria's ball, rather Oliveira, I should say. Driven against the Saudi Arabia defender on the edge of the penalty area. Uruguay with the throw. Oliveira. Sanabria scoops it in right-footed. Altan Bakci with the header. And now Saud Abdul Hamid flashes it away, but there's no one there in green. Instead it's Rodrigo Bentancur. Valverde. Sanabria towards the edge of the box for Araujo. Araujo again, and this time there will be a foul. Mohamed Abu Al-Shamat is very frustrated with the referee's decision. Defend another set piece here. It's on the left-hand side of the penalty area. 25 minutes left to play. There are a lot of questions about this tournament in the build-up, but the opening week is wide open. Valverde over the free kick, drives it in towards the near post, pushed away by Alois. Drops to Varela, that's charged out. The new man Nasser Al-Dawsari getting in the way. In a game of one half in this second half, Saudi's half. That's a misplaced ball though from Sebastian Cáceres. Maybe Saudi Arabia can get the ball forward. Be a chance for Kano. Rush that ball. Shalata Al-Dawsari. Just bouncing around the centre circle. And Nasser Al-Dawsari was grappling with Rodrigo Bentancur. Garte. Araujo. Bentancur. Here's Oliveira. Varela. Valverde. Lovely ball! 3 in the box. None of them can get on the end of it. Maxi Araujo pounds the ground in frustration. He was the closest to it, throwing himself at the back post unmarked. It's out of play for a goal kick, and the referee blows the whistle to indicate the second and final hydration break of the game. Well, a totally different prospect now in this second half. Saudi Arabia in what you might refer to as the second quarter, just after that first hydration break, back in the first 45. Saw the chance to get at Uruguay, and they got their reward with this slender lead that they enjoy up now into the 69th minute. But since the restart, the start of the second half, there's only been one team that's looked anywhere near scoring. They've been kept at bay by, might be a bit of an exaggeration, but we will look back at it at full time to just see quite how important Mohamed El Oaisi's performance has been with the gloves on for Saudi Arabia. Save after save, some of them quite spectacular. Federico Viñas has had 5 of Uruguay's efforts. Ugarte has probably come the closest for Uruguay. Stinging drive from the edge of the penalty area, zipped across the surface. A fingertip to it from Mohamed El Oais. Couldn't really see it from the naked eye, but the replay showed it's just done enough to divert it onto the post. As it stands, though, in a group featuring Spain, Cape Verde, it is Saudi Arabia who would finish this evening top of Group H. Another change incoming from Uruguay. Some of the biggest teams in this tournament still yet to come. Yet to see France or England. Here comes that change, and it's Manuel Ugarte who's going to be replaced by Nicolas de la Cruz. Scored 3 goals in qualifying, including in that impressive home win against Brazil. Always making his way back to his 6-yard box to get the game restarted from the goal kick. Coming together near halfway. Canobio down again. Still in a challenge with Moteb El Harbi. Bentancur. Varela. Canobio. Valverde picking his way through, forced wide. His cutback is against El Harbi for a corner kick. Looks like they've moved to a back 5, Saudi Arabia. They are dropping deeper and deeper, inviting Uruguay onto them, but was in towards the near post. Came off Firas Albaraikin and into the side netting. Valverde again, and this time it's from the edge of the 6-yard line. Cano again. Got his head on it. Sanabria, De La Cruz. And that's over everyone in the 18-yard box, now to play for a goal kick. Not far away from an own goal there, Firas Albaraikin. He had Canobio coiled up and ready to unleash the volley just behind him. He flicked that one on as well from the goal kick. He's been fouled as well there, Firas Albaraikin. Referee will check on him here. Physio required for Firas Alvaraikin. But they've got the free kick just shy of the halfway line. Tambakti takes the free kick. Harvey will take the throw. For Albaraikin. Here's Cáceres. Canobio doing his defensive duties. Cáceres gives it away. Al-Dawsari. Nasser Al-Dawsari. Salem Al-Dawsari. And are able to make the most of that decent position there, Saudi Arabia. Shamat with a foul in the centre circle. Here's De La Cruz. Not wasting any time now, Uruguay, trying to get this ball forward and find that equaliser. By Al Shamat, the cross from Canobio. Another testing one. Cáceres. Varela. Al-Dawsari. Missed clearance by Al-Harbi. But Varela couldn't make the most of it, and now maybe a chance for Salem Al-Dawsari to... Cáceres under a bit of pressure, mopping up well though. Club America defender. Muslera keeps the ball moving. Bentancur. Nicolas De La Cruz. Valverde lofts it in there. Abdul Hamid sliced away by Al Shamat. It's Bentancur. Tries to squeeze it between the lines, too hot for Valverde. And it'll be a goal kick for Saudi Arabia. Less than 13 minutes of the 90 remaining. Cleared by Alois. Bentancur beats Firas Alvaraikin to the ball. Matthias Oliveira now. Sanabria. Back to Cáceres. Guillermo Varela. Cáceres. De La Cruz. Canobio. Varela. High ball. Too high towards the back post. Scampering after it goes Viñas. Keeps it moving. Sanabria left-footed into the penalty area. Canobio was there. It's poked away by Al-Harbi. Decent touch by Firas Albaraikin. Salem Al-Dawsari turned into the challenge. Al-Tambakti is there in front of Canobio. De La Cruz, edge of the penalty area, thinks about the strike, takes it on. Cleared away by Nasser Al-Dawsari. Varela. Bentancur right of centre. Canobio. Bentancur. De La Cruz. Swung in there, Viñas! Alois in the follow-up is hammered home by Max Araujo. Uruguay level in Miami. Maxi Araujo. Relief abounds around this ground. He's been superb tonight, Mohamed Alois. That one will sting. Intelligent finish from Maxi Araujo. Beats Alois at the near post, just guides it past him. And they've got time to win it as well with 10 minutes left. And in the wake of the goal, changes on both sides. Maxi Araujo, his last involvement was to get Uruguay back on level terms. He's been replaced by Ryan Rodriguez. Canopio, right-hand side here. As Varela for support, will use the fullback. Canopio. Back to Bentancur. A shot by Matthias Oliveira from range. Deflected away for a corner. Ryan Rodriguez on for Maxi Araujo, just to confirm that change. De La Cruz standing over the corner. And the header is over the crossbar from Sebastian Cáceres. Just did enough there, Mohamed Kano. Mohamed Abu Al-Shamat has also been replaced. It's Nawaf Bouchal who's on in his place. Rodriguez! The substitute, fresh from the bench, flashes one past the far post. Varela bounces away from Al Harbi, but it's a loose pass forward. Here's Altan Bakhti. Nasser Al Dorsari. Now Abdullah Al Amri. Sanabria's header is down to Matthias Oliveira. Sanabria, Oliveira. A bit of a cul-de-sac there, did Matthias Oliveira. Cáceres, Varela forward. Canobia. That's Albalaikon. Canobio goes sliding in, concedes the throw-in. minutes to go. Fresh attendance just over 62,000. Nasser Al Dorsari, that's a high foot. Caught Rodrigo Bentancur. Referee right on top of it. Valverde. Rodriguez. Sanabria clips one in. Alois punches it clear with Federico Viñas lining one up. Varela. Canobio. Bounces across the 6-yard box. There's the pullback from Rodriguez. No, Bushal will win the throw, and they just can't keep the ball at the moment, Saudi Arabia. Felas on the icon. There's Nasser Al Dorsari. Mohamed Kano. Laid off by Salem Al Dorsari. Firas Al Baraikin to the left-hand side. Al Harbi, little give and go. Al Harbi, there's the cutback. Sent back to Al Dorsari. It's a bit scrappy. Here's Kano from range. Body's in the way. Abdul Hamid over the crossbar. And suddenly they're causing problems, Saudi Arabia. Not too far over the bar. Muslera had it covered. Still have designs on winning this though, the Saudis. Here's Canobio. Out on this right-hand side for Uruguay. Varela into a central position. Rodriguez on the left-hand side. Sanabria deflected behind. Off Nawaf Bushal. Offside is given there against Juan Sanabria. It's been quite a night already, hasn't it? This independently produced, studio-based commentary you're tuning in tonight. You have the opportunity to watch along with your national broadcaster. Thank you for listening as well. Tight and cagey at times, a tactical chess match. And the kind of clash that only this global tournament can serve up. Conditions like this as well, temperatures touching above 30 degrees, the humidity high 70 percentages. It's no surprise that substitutes the likes of Agustin Canobio and Sanabria have really made the difference. Here's Canobio. Nicolas de la Cruz. Bentancur. Sanabria. Now Rodriguez shifted onto his right. Viñas was ready to try and sweep that home. He's caught Altan Bakhti in the process. It was Salamri in the way in front of him. Rodriguez, defended by Cano, headed down on the edge of the box by De La Cruz. Now Valverde, back to De La Cruz, central area, 35 yards away from the target. Sanabria hoisted in there left-footed towards the back post. Up goes Oliveira, punched away by Alois with Caceres challenging. Scooped out towards this left-hand side by the Saudi defence. Salem Al-Dawsari is there. And Federico Viñas is going to trot off. And on will come Rodrigo Aguirre. It's for Tigres. They call him El Buffalo. Was featured back in March against England at Wembley. We'll play the 90 minutes. We'll have to find out how much more is going to be added on. It's Cáceres. There'll be 7 minutes additional time. Still plenty of time for a winner. Maybe even for either side, as Salem Al-Dawsari gets forward down the left-hand side. Trying to poke it through to Firas Baraikan. Brian Rodriguez. Sanabria pulled back. De La Cruz pushed away by Alois again. Canobio couldn't bundle it home on the follow-up. Instead, it's away by Al-Harbi towards Aguirre. And Buffalo can't get on the end of it. Again scooped clear by Nasser Al-Dawsari. Guillermo Varela. De La Cruz. Varela towards the back post, and a chance is taken by Saad Abdul Hamid, who tucks it behind for a corner kick. Brian Rodriguez will take it. There are 3 Saudi changes coming. And they'll make the changes before the corner as well. Might be a risky move. Saad Abdul Hamid's number is up. He's going to be replaced by Ali bin Mohammed bin Ali Al-Najami. Off 2 goes Al-Harbi. On comes Abdullah Al-Hamdan. And Firas Al-Baraikan will be replaced by Ala Al-Haji. A defensive midfield player. Rodriguez. Edge of the box, Valverde lines one up, drives it low. Alois again, low down to his left, with a really important hand to turn it round the post. Scooted across the surface from Fede Valverde, and it's scooped out from the bottom corner by Mohamed Alois. De La Cruz over the set piece. And the header is wide at the near post by Sebastian Cáceres. Just a little bit behind him. Slap of the leg from Marcelo Bielsa in response to that Mohamed Alois save, who was the man of the match 4 years ago in that famous win against Argentina. Canobio. Nasser Al-Dawsari. One back by Bentancur. Rodriguez down the left. Sanabria down the touchline. Wins the throw-in, level with the edge of the penalty area. It's in by one, Sanabria. Bentancur moves it on to Cáceres. Agustin Canobio. De La Cruz. Cáceres. De La Cruz. Bentancur. Valverde. Varela. Valverde can turn. Drives one into the penalty area. Lifted out to Canobio. De La Cruz. Valverde. Big deflection off Hassan Amtalbakti. A corner yet again. Rodriguez over the set piece. The in-swinger. Varela goes for a goal. It's charged down by Alhamdan. Advantage for Uruguay. Rodriguez. Bentancur. Varela. Cáceres. Challenged by Najami. Varela. Cáceres. Bentancur. Sanabria. Rodriguez from a long way out and shuffled round the post by Alois. Eight saves now from Mohamed Alois, Valverde, De La Cruz, and another one turned behind. Well, the stretching figure of Abdullah Al-Amri. Short to De La Cruz, goes to the corner. Rodriguez, Sanabria, back to Rodriguez. Towards the back post, scooped away again by Cano. Varela gets it back in. Rodriguez trying to find space in the box. Valverde on the overlap. How to play for a throw-in. Now we're into added time, Cáceres, Canobio, right-hand side, all being played in the final third. In by Cáceres. Altan away. De La Cruz. Valverde, round the corner. Sanabria. It's off Ali bin Mohammed bin Ali Al-Laijami. Another corner. Saudi Arabia players pointing to the clock. And still we go on. Maurizio Mariani waves for Brian Rodriguez to loop it in. The in-swinger. Up goes Cano. On the follow-up on the edge of the box goes Cáceres. And there is the full-time whistle for Maurizio Mariani. Group H opens with a pair of draws. The first goalless between Spain and Cape Verde. The second, a bit of an escape for Uruguay. Saudi Arabia led at half-time through Abdullah Al-Amri. They had a spurt of energy in that second half of that first half. But it all changed for Uruguay after half-time. A bit more energy, a bit more thrust. And the substitutes seemed to inject a bit of pace into the way they went about things. Almost the entirety of that second half was played in the Saudi Arabia half, and even the attacking third. But Mohamed Alois, with more saves than we've seen from any other goalkeeper at this tournament so far, ensured that he was only beaten just the once. A save pushed into the path of Maxi Araujo, who tucked it home and beat him at the near post, means that the spoils are shared in Miami between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia. Nothing to separate any of the teams in this group, but a famous night in some ways for the Saudis. A frustrating night for Marcelo Bielsa. Something interesting to see the side he picks for their next fixture in this tournament. One thing's for sure, this is an open global international competition. And it keeps throwing up surprises, as we saw again tonight in the heat and humidity of Miami. Tactical, frustrating at times to watch. But for so many in the ground, a night they'll never forget. Sure, it's a night, plenty in that Saudi Arabian green will remember for a long, long time. Full time in Miami, and it's finished. One apiece. Uruguay 1, Saudi Arabia 1.